So hi, everybody, and welcome to Echoes of the Soul. I'm Beth Donnelly, and I'm here with my co-host, Dagny Grant, and we have a question for you today. Are you guys interested in numerology? If you are, stay with us. For those of you who are maybe not too familiar with the term, numerology can be referred to as the belief in the divine, the mystical relationship between a number and coinciding events. It's the study of numerical value of letters and words and names and birth dates, often associated with the supernatural. Sound interesting? We thought so, and we are very excited today to have numerologist Dee Gibson here to speak with us all the way from Victoria, Australia. So let me tell you just a little bit about her so that you can get to know her. Dee Gibson is an author with 3 titles on Amazon: Easy Baby Numerology, that sounds really cool, Numbers Game, and Soul Numbers. She's also a psychic medium as well as a numerologist and a public speaker. Her personal mission is to offer authentic readings to help individuals understand their current situation and offer spiritual and practical information for their growth. After 30 plus years of practical studies, psychic readings, and working with numerology charts, Dee says that she still has great passion for her work, and I'm sure that you will discover that here today with us. So here we are with Dee Gibson. Hi, Dee.
Good morning, Beth, and thank you very much for having me on your show. I'm just bursting to explore and explain numerology to you all.
Oh, good. That's what we want to know. We want to know more about numerology. So how about if you started by telling us how you got started in this field?
Yes, well, the first part with me is I've been a psychic medium, been psychic all my life. It's just something that I, came in with, and I believe everyone has a part of their soul and their personality that is psychic, and I believe that intuition is how we run our life. And in my studies, my metaphysical studies, early on in my teenage years, I started to study numerology, and then later I met a very, very old man, and he taught me the pure numerology, which is the spiritual numerology. And I use it every day in so many ways to help people. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing to learn about.
And how old is numerology?
Probably as old as time. We can go back and we can say that it is, Pythagorean, which is the system that I use. But prior to that, the Chaldeans had numerology, and prior to that, many other societies had numerology, but it probably wasn't written down. So I think it's a very, very ancient skill.
Oh, that's quite wonderful. And then you found a teacher, you said, who was very old and experienced in the field, and he taught you the method that you use today?
Yes, he taught me vibrational numerology, which is pure numerology, and he explained to me the vibrations of every number and how energy works. I'm certainly not into quantum physics. If you think I'm going there, I'm not. But every
I was
number,
about to get really excited about it.
every number has a vibration, but it also has a purpose and a meaning. So in my belief structure that we come through into a life and bring with us the gifts that we're going to share and the things that we're going to be challenged on, numerology can absolutely pinpoint what it is that we are bringing with us. So our birth date is our signpost. It tells me everything. I just look at a birth date and I think, okay, let's start. I love it because it does point us in the right direction, and it also explains our soul purpose, the reason we're here.
Well, we had talked with you earlier before the show about our birth date so that we could kind of talk about that a little bit as well. And before we do that, I guess, before we hear what your thoughts were, in regard to our birth dates in particular, tell our audience a little bit about what numerology can teach people about themselves and about others,
Yeah. Dagny, the thing that it can teach people about themselves is infinite, because firstly it teaches you what vibration you are. You've come into planet Earth as a vibration, and that vibration will be the numbers 1 to 9. Okay, there are 9 numbers that our Earth uses, that the whole universe uses. We do have other numbers which are master numbers, and they're a little bit a different vibration, but they still come down to a single digit. So what we're looking at first of all is finding what we call...
Like 11, for example?
Yes,
Okay.
you're an 11. And the other thing is, I hate when we have to start off with the complicated master numbers, but we'll get through it all today, I promise you. So what we're looking at is whether we're firstly a practical person, an emotional person, or a mentally attuned person. And each number in our birth date tells us what we are in conjunction with. Do we have many numbers on our mental area, our emotional, or our physical? So each number has a vibration, and it has its own depth. So let me first talk to you about the number 1. Someone whose birth date adds up to the number 1 vibrates at being a leader. So they come in and they know in their soul that they are going to be leaders, they are going to be in control. But firstly, the first 28 years it takes for that person who is a ruling number 1 to stand on their own 2 feet, not lean on people, to actually get their independence and get their own initiative working. So this is a really, really part of our ego, a part of what pushes us. And everyone in last century always had a 1, because we had the 19, 50, 60, 70. We always had a 1. However, now we're in the 20th century. Everyone has a 2. So the vibration level from what we had last century to this century has gone from absolute control now into love. So these are the vibrations that we look at when we look at a birth date number.
Oh, exciting.
And as you go through each number, the vibration changes. So 1 is singular, it likes to be in control, it likes to be the manager, and it has very, very good ability to make decisions, to put in place good systems in business. That's why the 1 always ends up at the top. 1s are usually managing directors. So that's just the start of understanding numerology. So what we do when I have a client come into my reading room, the very first thing is I take down the birth date and I add that through until it comes to a final digit. And that final digit is your ruling number.
And Beth, for example, in the birth dates that we gave was the August birth date, and I think hers ended up being the 11, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm the
I think
August.
so.
Mine is the 3.
You're definitely the 3, but Beth is the 11.
That's
I
right.
am definitely a 3. You know, it's fun. It's so fun because it's, you know, if for our audience, you know, if you start kind of looking into numerology a little bit, it really is kind of fun how kind of right on these numbers are, the definitions are, and how some don't fit you at all, and how the one that does is really pretty. It's pretty remarkable how fun that is, isn't it?
When I love it when I am out maybe socially and we're chatting, you know, people are chatting and they say to me, "Oh, Dee, what do you do?" And I say, "I'm a numerologist," and they say, "Oh, you know, I don't believe in that." And I said, "That's
right. Oh, that's crazy."
That's great. And I said, "But what, you know?" But that little interest creeps in, and they say, "Well, what number am I?" So I will give them, you know, a 1 minute, just a very, very small amount, and generally the person who is very skeptical goes very, very, very surprised,
Right.
because they know that the numerology is allowing me to tune in to their truth, to who they are, what they're here to express, and that's the joy of it. And it's
skeptics are fun.
Oh, look, it's so much fun when someone's so skeptical and they go, "Oh." I've got lots and lots of stories of skeptical people who finally eventually came to me to learn numerology. So that's another story, but it is absolutely accurate.
Wow.
I've done both your charts. Yesterday I did them and I worked them out, and I'm going to talk about those when you're ready. But any
Well,
other...
let's go ahead and do it. That'd be fun.
We're ready.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
then. Firstly, let me talk to you, Dagny, about your date. Dagny, your chart shows me that you are a beautiful number 3. Now, let me tell you about the number 3. It is here to express through the personality. So 3 is the highly, highly creative vibration. It is a mental vibration. So your mind needs to be really, really pushing ideas out there. 3 is the triangle. Can't even do a triangle. Yeah, triangle. Okay. So it means that in a religious sense, it's the the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. In a normal context, it is the mother, father, and child. But what it is, it's when 2 energies come together to create. So it is creating through your mind, through your personality. You'll find that people in the theatre, people who are comedians, people who are writers, love to give their energy out. And a large percentage of them are the number 3. So with you, Dagny, you're really wanting to express yourself, and you need to do it in absolute succinct detail. 3 is the really thinking part of our brain that comes down to all the fine details. So within your career, within whatever it is that you do in life, you're going to see the fine details. You're going to be able to pick up details that other people miss. So if you perhaps were writing a short story or a blog, you would write it, you would read back over it, there'd be no mistakes because you would pick up all those fine little details. So you're a very detailed person, but you must express. So you need to find an outlet, which is writing or art, or certainly speaking, public speaking, music, any of those things that bring in personal expression. Yes?
Absolutely. In all cases, absolutely true. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, that's fun.
The other part of you, your vibration is the 5, and the 5 vibration along with the 3 makes you even more exuberant. It gives you even more lift to carry your message. So you're here to work in a physical way, physically producing your whatever your creative art is, physically getting it out there to the world. So you love to have a big voice, you love to express, but there are also other times that you are very, very quiet and you need that serenity. So there's a bit of a balance with that 5 in your chart. However, when I look at your chart, if I'm going to have a production, or if I'm going to have a party for 10 people, I'll go, give it to you, Dagny, because you are an organizer. You've got more than 3, you've got 3 5s on your chart, and those 5s give you the absolute ability to organise a dinner for 2 people or a party for 50. So you're a great organiser, and that is an innate ability you have. No one has had to teach you that ability because you've got that vibration on your chart. Now, if I were talking to another person who didn't have that, I would say one of your skills that you need to learn is organisation. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you've come in with that, okay? You've come in with a very, very strong personal desire. Your determination is really, really strong. And so is your ability to work on a very even-paced emotional line. You keep even-paced with your emotions. You're not up and down like this. So this allows you to tune into spirit. It allows you to bring your creativity through from whatever the source is, whatever you call source energy. You can bring that through and absolutely articulate it. So you're very, very psychic, and you're at a stage now in your life where you really are yearning even more to be in front of people, either the written word or the spoken word, or doing what you're doing now on radio. This is what you will do for the rest of your life. You will be under a beautiful vibration that seeks to go deeply into spirituality, but wanting to express that to other people. Actually, it won't surprise me if I ask you that, are you doing some form of counselling, because that comes in very strongly at this stage of your life.
Absolutely. I do coaching of clients and I do readings for clients.
Oh, okay, fine. Because that's the ideal thing for you now, is to really, really get a as much energy and knowledge into your consciousness so that you can share that with other people. And this is going to be done in a very different and unusual way, and it's going to be a little bit solitary. And I don't mean that you're not connecting with people, but you do need that do need that time alone. So can you understand what I've been talking about?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. 100% right on.
Yes,
I
right.
want to ask you,
Yeah, it's if you knew, I mean, I know that you know, but if you knew, you'd be going like, whoa. Even you would be like, whoa.
and the other thing, Dagny, is that this year you're under the vibration of an 8, and around August and September time now, this is where you're peaking. Okay, you're peaking in this year so that you can really, really get back the kudos, the money, the clients. This is a very, very busy time for you. So things really are opening, and this is an excellent time for you to get new ideas out there.
Good to know. I can feel that actually. So that's a great acknowledgement of what I'm sensing myself. So that's great.
Lots more business, lots more activity coming to you. I just want to ask something. When you were 23, did you travel? Age 23?
You know, I probably traveled from Minnesota to Arizona.
Okay, and I wouldn't know how far that is, so yes, okay.
Oh, right,
But that's just something I picked up.
Kind of across, halfway across the country.
Oh, okay, fine, right. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing about you. But the other thing, Dagny, with your link with spirit, when you're working in a mediumistic way, you are very fast. Your connection with spirit comes through on a roll that's very fast. So as you ask for your client a question, bang, it's there. That's the way your energy works on the psychic level. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's almost eerie.
Yes.
I've seen her do that.
Yeah.
Very quickly, yes.
Yes, and some people that are tuning into spirit and they're really wanting those answers, it takes a lot longer. But with Dagny's chart, it's just there like that. Really, really fast, more mental mediumship than the physical.
Yes, comes in images.
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
And it's like the TV running across here. Very colourful.
It is.
That's you. You've got a really interesting chart, and you're definitely balanced emotionally. You're definitely here to be very highly creative. You're extremely good at organising and putting things into place.
Yeah, I've done some wedding planning, which requires some pretty intensive organizational skills. So yeah. Well, thank you so much. That is so fun.
I think you'd need a lot of humour for that one, because I'm sure you've done a few bridezillas in your time.
Well, the first thing that I'll do is sit down with the bride and groom and go and say to the groom, "What don't you care about?"
Oh, what a great question.
Let's start there.
That gives you permission just to
oh my goodness, so many grooms having to be forced to care about things they just don't, and it's that can make the experience kind of miserable for everybody. So yeah.
I think you have a lot of patience with that one.
Yeah. It's fun though. Thank you so much. That is so great.
Yes, it's interesting. It is interesting. Beth's sitting there waiting now.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Beth's too. Your reading for me was so incredibly right on. I can't wait to hear Beth's. That'll be so much fun.
Hey, Beth, my love, I won't give out your date naturally, but I might say that we're only a couple of years difference between you and I. Beth, you've got an interesting chart, and I need to give a little bit of background for those of you who are interested in numerology. Everything has a vibration, and everything has a higher vibration and a lower vibration. So in the numbers 1 to 9, they're the normal vibrations every day. Sometimes when a soul comes through to lead a special life, or a lot is asked of that person, they'll come through as the upper vibration. So you're the upper vibration of 2, which is an 11. Now 11 is called a master number, and a master number means, it doesn't mean you're better than everybody else. It means that you are a different vibration of 2. You're a higher vibration, and higher in the sense of finer vibration. It makes you more sensitive, it makes you more accountable, and it's easier not to do it than to do it. So it is a complex number when we come through as a ruling number 11. And when I look at your chart, the 11, I might tell you, is here to bring through spiritual enlightenment, spiritual investigation, and to be an example of that to other people, so that you live your spirituality, and you bring people through and help them with that. 11s are always in metaphysical areas or entertainment. They're the 2 areas where they can absolutely influence more people. So I'm not asking you any questions. I'm just saying that would have been the main thing for you. And you would have been known that you were psychic from an early age, but your chart has something even more interesting on it. You've got 8s on your chart, and 8s give people, even if I hadn't seen your face, 8s give people charisma with their face. It gives them a round. Okay, we're talking about Beth's numerology, and I was explaining to you, Beth, that you're an 11, which is a master number, and master numbers are there's just more asked of them, or you've given yourself more of a challenge in this lifetime. 11 is someone who needs to communicate their spirituality. So you need to be somewhere where you're with people all the time. You are needed in giving out your love, giving out your vibration. That's what 11 does. It inspires other people. So it can be a teacher, it can inspire people to education, it can inspire musicians, it can inspire by being an actor, by being in front of a crowd. That's really, really what an 11 is here to do. But 11 is generally very, very shy at first, and this is a very hard thing for them to do. However, not for you, Beth, because you've got beautiful 8s on your chart, and those 8s are charismatic. They give you a beautiful round face, they make you very, very attractive to other people, and they give you that charisma that people want to be with you. Now, this is not meaning this is ego or anything like this. This is just your energy, and that energy pulls people in. So entertainment, being in the public eye is what the 11 is and what the 8 is. 8 is all about music. It's all about feeling, okay? So when you hear music, your body relates to music vibration with energy of feeling. So there's a great ability here within you to feel music. Now, whether you go ahead and play it, or whether you take up an instrument, or whether you sing, I don't know anything about that, but I do know it's on your chart for you to have that gift to be able to explore and to express. You've got also the ability with your chart to be able to think up concepts and ideas, see them in your mind's eye, see what the final result will look like, and physically, practically do it. So you've got what I call the line of the architect on your chart, which means that you're conceptual, you're very much an I see person, but you're also practical about it. You can do those 3 areas. So you're a great backstop to anyone who wants to work in that new ideas area, I would say. You're very much a person who has incredible dreams and very, very visual. So you've got a lot of visual creative capacity. That's what you really have got. So you're here to be a person who inspires other people, use your visualization, and do it in a practical, business-like manner. Very interesting that you and Dagny are both in, when I look at a 9-year cycle, you're both in an 8-year. So you're both wanting to produce things, do things on the same level at the same time, which means a partnership here with you in a project is perfect. And this is an excellent year for you both to be working and involved together at the same time, because you're both wanting the same energy, wanting to express that. So that makes it very, very compatible. What else is on your chart that I can see? I feel that you probably either married or had children around the middle part of your 20s, and I feel, or you found your, your love partner. That's just the very first thing that I can see here for you. I need to say to you, Beth, that for the last part of your life, between now and when you return to spirit, you will be creating and being creative and expressing for the last part of your life. You're not going to have a very quiet retirement. You're going to always want to be out there expressing and inspiring people. So that's your gift, and that's what you will be doing for the last part of your life here on Earth, which is a lot of fun, because you're just going to be under that beautiful 3 vibration, which is what Dagny's number is. So there's a lot of fun between the two of you.
Wow.
Can you relate to what I'm talking about?
Oh my gosh, I can just hardly believe that you don't know me, really, Dee. You just...
No, I don't. No.
I would think that you did just by your reading. I mean, Dagny's laughing. But first of all, the two of us working together and writing books and doing coaching together and doing our radio show together and this, so that all was insane.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware that we've written a children's book series together.
No.
Yeah.
So that...
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so you hit that on the head there. And then, of course, I'm a singer.
Oh.
You talked about music so much, And
Seriously, Dee, write this down. Do you have a pen in front of you?
Yes.
Write down jeremiahproductions.com. You'll knock your socks off.
And Dagny's one of my biggest fans. And I did meet the love of my life in my late 20s, and we do have a son, and he and I sing together. And we have a concert series, and we just said just a month ago that we're not stopping. We're going to keep doing it and keep doing it. And that was what you said, that my life is going to just continue to be full. And so you hit that on the head. And then I've always wanted to be an uplifter of the human spirit and send that out to people in my music or in my writing or in my speaking. And you mentioned that too, and how I love to be around people and help them. So Dagny and I both love this, the whole idea of kindness. We try to be doing kind things all the time. We do smiling trips to see how many people we can smile at, and just so you really hit us both kind of right in
Tell me something, Were you a dancer, or do you, as soon as you hear music, you've got to move? Because that's what I'm feeling about you.
We dance on stage too with our music, and in the kitchen, we like to dance.
And you do have a rounded face. Because that comes from the 8, and the fine vibration of the 11 makes you want finer things in life. So you might like fine china or fine glasses to drink out of, or it's just that fineness.
I like that too. I like you did a really wonderful job describing both of us, I think.
Could I just ask, what I'm interested in your son's date of birth? Would you mind giving it to me over the air, or if you don't want to, it doesn't matter?
Aries, and it was March 28th, 1980.
Well, he's two things. He's got to move. He's got to be very physical. He's got to be on the active train. Let's get going. Let's see what's happening. He can't be bored. He can't stand to be bored. He likes to have activity and bring some new people in. Let's have fun. And when he gets bored with that little group there, he'll be over here with the new group. Let's have fun over here. But this group, he's going, where's he gone? Where's he gone? We thought he was just for us, but no, he's for everybody. And he's also got to, got a very good ability in the business sense, because he is able to work under that one vibration of being a leader, being in business. So he really can do all the paperwork. He can do all the decisions, the managing. So that side of it, I would encourage him to do that side if he's not already doing it. Has he moved this year? Has he moved his house? Yes. Well, it was the right time for him to do that. And I'm getting a 3 around him, and I don't know whether that's his house number or whether he would have 3 children, or there's something about a 3 or in 3 months, one or the other. I'm just giving that out to you, Beth, because it has a lovely feeling to it. But it could be something really good coming up in 3 months for him.
Oh, nice. I'll tell him. That is so wonderful.
Yeah, so these are the things that numerology can help us with. And even down to, I have clients that they say to me, I'm having a really, really hard time today. I will work out what vibration they're under on that particular day and explain to them, let's move it around to a different, from a negative to a positive. And I can tell them what their challenge is by the vibration of the number of the day. It's just such a wonderful thing to be able to think, oh, okay, my challenge is not to stay home and be bored because I'm in a 4-day. My challenge is to be home and enjoy cleaning the house. Do you understand what I mean? They're little tiny things, but it can change your day if you know what vibration you're working on.
Vibration is so important. And I was wondering, so do you think that everyone has the ability to be psychic, or do we have that psychic ability inside of us? We just need to figure out what that is.
Everyone has, we have it even from our ancient brain. We have the fight and flight, and as it's come through time, it's become we've now call it our intuition or our psychic ability, and everyone has that innately. Everyone has it to a degree, depending on what you're concentrating on, what your soul's lesson is here, whether it comes through with you as a big gift or whether it's just a slight hunch. But it can be enhanced, it can be learnt, and it can be strengthened. I always tell the class when I teach it, okay, let's just get some messages through so that we can build our psychic muscle. And that's what learning about your psychic ability is, and learning to tune into spirit, and that's why numbers can help you.
Oh, that's wonderful. I noticed that, well, I figured that I have some intuitive ability, and when I am communicating with God and I'm trying to connect, if I try and use my mind and my intellect, I get nothing. But if I use my feelings and my intuitive ability, I connect right away, and I know exactly what God is trying to tell me. And
yes,
I hear it inside my mind.
You see, this is what you brought up is such a fascinating thing, and it's probably the one question I get asked all the time. How do I know if it's my mind? How do I know if it is Source speaking to me?
Right.
And how you know is if it's our imagination and our ego, our personality, it's always exciting. It's always this. It's really, really exciting. But if we're sitting there and we get a very, very quiet, even flow of a vision, a word, or a feeling, well, that's God speaking to us, because that's the energy coming through. It is not exciting and trying to push us. It is gently trying to love us.
Oh, it's quiet feeling. Yes, I agree. That's what I feel.
That's interesting. One of the things Beth and I were talking about a little bit this morning was what the difference is in the a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but it seems like there's probably a difference in what it really means to be psychic versus maybe being a medium or being intuitive or being a channeler even. We were just wondering what your thoughts were about those different terms and stuff.
In my experience, Dagny, I've been shown that first of all we're all intuitive, and as that intuition grows and we get a little bit stronger with it, it can go up to all those other things that you've just described. Now, they can be described through all the clairvoyant, clairsentient, clair everything. But the thing is, it's about our own energy. What is our own energy doing? And they are all just different levels of the same thing. Different levels. So someone might get a hunch and say, gee, I had a hunch that was going to happen. But if they had stopped and allowed the information to come through maybe more slowly, or asked spirit what it was about, they would have got more. And then we would call that, you know, clairvoyance, or we would call it something else. It's just all the same energy that we're living with every day on different levels, different amounts of strength.
Interesting.
Do you agree with that? Do you think that someone who is psychic may not be a medium, for instance, because their attunement and their ability may not have got up to that so far?
Right, what they're allowing.
Yes, what
Right.
they're allowing through.
Right, yeah.
Exactly what they're allowing through, and it can be stopped for 1,000 reasons. It can be stopped for not having the knowledge, not having the practice, not having the confidence. All of those things will
Resisting it even coming in.
perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
I don't want to see dead people, so I'm not going to.
Yes.
Right. It's that kind of resistance isn't necessarily a negative thing. It's just making those discernments between what psychic abilities we desire to allow into our experience and what we don't. Right.
Exactly right, Dagny, because
Yeah.
overall we've got free will, and our free will,
Right.
it cannot be altered by anyone else. And a lot of people that come to my classes say to me, oh dear, you know, I think there's something spooky there. And I just say, the world is made of love. It can't be spooky. What that is, it's just a little fear. And this is what I think you know, sometimes the differences with the strength of someone's psychic ability is because of this. And it can be, you know, silly stuff we've picked up when we're a child. But seriously, I just believe that if we work in love, that's what we get.
Right.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
I have a question about auras.
Oh.
And I was wondering if you see auras, and how do you define it first? So.
Okay. How I found it, Beth, was I was always able to see energy, and I was always able to see auras. Now, that doesn't mean that I walk down the street and see the aura around every person. It's still a connection thing. I still have to be connected. But when I was young, say 5 or 6, and I would ask my mother, who was very, very psychic, untrained, but very psychic, and she'd say, oh, it's just nothing. It's just, you know, she'd pass it off as, it's okay. Just, oh, it's blue, is it? That's interesting. Couldn't see it, but she did not put me down.
Good for her.
Yeah, she was wonderful. So, and as I got to see spirit people, I'd be frightened, and I'd say, oh, there's a man over there, Mum. What's that? And she'd say, oh, it's just a ghost. No, so she was so down to earth.
It's just a ghost.
Great way to do it.
Down to earth, and coming from a very, very casual type family, that was easy for me to accept. Okay, that's fine. Was when later I got on to going to school and explaining it to people, that's when I shut it off, because no one else knew what I was talking about. So what it is twofold. It's your spiritual attunement, being able to pick up the vibration, but it is something also with your third eye, with your normal eyes, because I can see energy just with my normal eye. So there's a lot of, again, quantum physics, I don't know. So I can't explain it any more than when someone sits down opposite me, the minute that I tune into them and have their permission to read for them, I see their energy. And just last week, I was explaining to a girl that she had an enormous patch of grey right in her stomach, and I was saying that it really did need to be considered, that there was a problem there. And I don't give medical stuff because, you know, that's not right, but I could see it as plain as day. And at the end of the reading, when I finally let her speak, she said that she'd had a major growth taken out of that area, and where I drew the line in her stomach was where the operation had occurred. So what I was seeing was the energy pattern of that growth, which was fine, it wasn't cancerous, of that pattern was still there. So I could see it still in the aura. So there was still some connection of fear of hers, that it may come back, or she was still hanging on to it. So she needed to go to someone else who was a healer that could work through that and let that come out of her energy pattern, her aura. So yes, we all have auras, and yes, I can see them, and I actually can help people with exercises to learn to grow that.
Mine is like a glittery rainbow, isn't it?
Yes. No.
What was that?
Well, it's interesting because, one of the things that Beth and I also, speak about a fair amount is chi energy and the meridian system of flow of energy. How does that all line up with?
That is your aura. That is your chakra system. That is the system that we have that keeps us alive down here. That is our link with source, whatever source is. Each person has a chakra system, a meridian system, and I just think that it's the most fascinating thing to start linking in and really honing in on one chakra in particular and just seeing how it's going. It's a fascinating subject.
It is fascinating, and Dagny and I became fascinated with the field of qigong, and both of us do it. I do it every day, and I don't know how.
He does it in the morning. I do it at night. I go outside before I go to bed, and I on my patio, and I do qigong, and I during the full moon. That's a really just a delicious thing. And but Beth does it more in the morning. So.
In the morning.
And what that does, it sets you up.
That's rusty.
Sets you up, it tunes you in, and it keeps your equilibrium really, really balanced.
Yes.
I don't do it. I have been to, I know what it is as far as seeing people do it, but I've only done a little bit of Tai Chi for a couple of years, but I'm a little bit of a couch potato, I think.
Oh,
I'm a little bit lazy.
It's a chi energy it's a little bit similar to Tai Chi, but the method we do is free flow.
Yes.
And it's really very gentle. You would probably really like it.
I think I probably,
push or anything. And I always thank God for the chi energy, and I do it, and it really helps my. I think my chakra system and everything. And
it does. It does. Any form of meditation that you can, we raise our vibration in many ways, and we raise our vibration by thinking and feeling. And if you're doing that and you're feeling that beautiful chi energy flow through you, you're raising your vibration beautifully.
Mm.
I love to do that.
I'm not looking for it.
That's good juicy stuff, right? One of the other things that I wanted to ask you about, because the numerology of the birth date, the astrology, the numerology, all of that around the date of birth, with so many people being their pregnancies being induced, their birth being induced, so that doctors can get it on a calendar rather than just allowing an organic experience. How does that shift a person's just natural numerological state when it's not what was intended to occur? It's kind of what was forced to occur. You know what I mean?
Well, I like to go back a question and say, was it? Because my total belief is that our soul and
No accident.
the universe is so, there are no accidents there. It is, we have set out when we're going to come here. And my personal belief is that the day, the hour, the moment we arrive, that's it. I've had people who were 2 weeks early, 2 weeks late. And I said, it's not, because that is something that is a maybe. Okay, we've got to go on the fact that that's the date you were born, even if it was a Caesar, even if it was induced, that is the date.
It's still the day that it was supposed to happen, or it wouldn't have happened that day.
Yes, correct.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
If I do a natal chart, which is a baby, the day they're born, I do their full name to say they've got, Mary Ellen Jones Jackson or whatever it is. I do all their name, and then as they go along, they might not always be called those names. They may choose to be called a derivative. So what we do is we look at the whole name as a birth number and give that information, but we then work with the name. So my birth name was Diane, and I changed that to Dee. So when I changed it to Dee, which is through my early years of looking at numerology, it wasn't a conscious choice because of numerology. Okay, I didn't do it because of numerology. I did it because I didn't want to be called Di, and my mum want me to be called Di. So I became Dee, but when I then later learned numerology, the D makes my chart work. It's the most perfect name for my chart to be able to express. Had I not had that, I would have been more clammed up. So
fascinating.
These are things that happen with names. Each letter has a vibration, and each letter has its own number. We also use that in numerology so that we can dig really deeply into what our soul is here for.
Wow. This is so interesting. I've always loved numerology, and this is the first numerologist we've talked to. So it's
cool.
wonderful.
The other thing,
you're the first and best so far, and this is Rusty.
Oh, I can see a beautiful dog.
Yeah, he's my baby.
That's Rusty.
With names, you know, probably I think about 40 or maybe 50% of people don't use the name they were born with. And as I'm talking about a Christian name, a first name, you know, like D for Diane, or, you know, anything that is shortened. Even some people can be called Joe at home and Joey at work. Well, they're two different vibrations, right, and they react in two different ways with the people that are around them.
Right. A lot of people call me D.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, or call me Dags.
Dags.
I do that sometimes.
So yeah, so that's kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look at where they call you that, are they close friends or are they relatives? You know, it's really interesting to see what vibration you're meeting them on with that different name.
Right. Dags is definitely has been a term of endearment on social media when folks call me Dags. So that's, you know, that's kind of fun.
My birth name was Elizabeth.
Right.
But you do that.
I didn't hear that first part.
I said my birth name was Elizabeth, but I go by Beth.
Yes.
And only one person ever called me Elizabeth. And
I bet it's an old family member, is it?
He was a voice teacher that taught me since I was very young, like 10 years old. He called me Elizabeth. He's very proper.
Oh.
So it's
I just say that by looking at your chart, Beth. You know, I'm just saying, but you've got it all. And people say to me, "Oh, am I one thing or the other?" Okay, and what I say is, all of those gifts and all of those titles are all our energy, and we all use little bits at different times. No one can be just one thing, not clairvoyant, not clairaudient, we're all using little bits at a time, because eventually everyone will have all of those gifts open and be able to use them.
Wow, that's amazing.
And because the planet is going through such a different time now, we're coming under the 2 from the 2000, that's bringing the love to the planet. And if I say that at the moment you think, you know, there's so many terrible things going on in the world, but underneath, people are waking up to the fact that they are intuitive, the fact that they can establish contact on many levels and help people. And that's really what is actually the undertone. So when it's coming up like this, all of the other muck and wars and things are getting pushed so that they do explode, because underneath, this love will come up.
Isn't it a wonderful time on the planet, really?
Oh,
that people are waking up like that. It's just
and we've chosen to be here, Beth, at this time.
Yeah. Boy. We have a lot in store for us, I think. So we might as well enjoy it. I think Dagny wanted to talk to you a little bit about your books before we.
Well, I was just going to say that you've mentioned a couple of times about your classes, so I thought it might be interesting to just have you tell our audience a little bit about. You have a class called Develop Your Psychic Intuition.
Yes, I do.
Well, how do you do that? How do you share with your class? You know, what are kind of the key ingredients to how you get them to expand those abilities? I love to learn different people's teaching styles on this kind of stuff, because I think we all have different ways of.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm a big sharer. I don't hold anything back in my classes. If anyone asks me anything that I can give them, I will. Firstly, I get them to tune into their vibration of their numbers, so that I can explain to them that their way of linking with spirit is going to be different to the person sitting next door. So everyone will get it in a different way, and it is no competition, because there's nothing to compare. Each person's individual. So then I use a meditation circle, and I go deeply into a deep level of meditation. I then demonstrate for them by reading to each person. I stand in front of them and read for them. Then I take two people and I ask one to read for the other. And because I'm already linked in, I can see where they're at, and I teach them how to link into the energy and allow spirit to come through. And that really is a technique that is a little bit individual for each two people working together. And that's the way I do it, Dagny, because that way I'm standing there, I'm helping them, I'm explaining to them what the energy is doing, and all they have to do is follow my lead. Once they get one piece of information and their opposite partner says, that's correct, they relax, and I say, I think I can do this.
Oh.
So then relax. I'll give them little exercises to encourage them to do that.
So
that feedback does make a difference when someone says, "Oh, that's right on." That really does help.
Yes, yes.
Reaffirming that it's working.
Right.
I like the meditation circle that you talked about too. That's really nice, and so the people in the circle actually look to their partner and read them in your presence, and then you help them.
And we don't leave the circle, because we've set up a beautiful energy in the circle, and it is really a sacred place to be. So once we're in that circle for the 30 minutes, everyone stays in that circle, and then we either open that circle, and then we close it down, and we move out. And if we're going to do it again, we set up beautiful energy, and we open that circle. When we've done the work, we close it, because it's really important that people aren't walking around the street saying, hey, tap person on the shoulder in the supermarket line and say, oh, I can see your guide, and this is, really, really bad stuff, but people get excited about it. I'm not saying they do it deliberately to be naughty, but they don't understand that this is a sacred thing, that you are either open and you're working with people, or you're closed and you're in your own energy.
So is it a guided meditation that you give them when they're meditating?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, I take them through the meditation, and I just guide them through. And
wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting how many people don't think they can meditate because their minds are just kind of all over the place, and so they don't see it as something they can do. And guided meditation is really helpful, I think, in that case, where it just kind of is takes the mind on a journey rather than I think once somebody has found a guided meditation that they resonate with, then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I can meditate. This is great, right? It's really can open them up to.
And the other good thing, Dagny, of what we're all saying there, I really agree with, is if you've got 4 or 5 people together, they'll all be at different stages of development. And what you're saying is you give them a guided meditation, they're all together, they're doing the same thing, and that raises the vibration of the circle.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so their energies, and we have the collective energy then helps them who, if they're here and spirit's here, it helps them to move up to where spirit is, so that they can connect.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, well, it's what Dagny was saying. If it's guided, people are going to all be concentrating on where the meditation is going.
Right. You literally create a collective consciousness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is really fun. I love that idea. I love that idea. So let's talk about your books for a second.
Yeah.
Because you've got these books that are so cool. We would love for our audience to connect with your books and your work. So let's talk about that a little bit. Just,
Okay.
yeah, show us what you got.
Okay, I've got baby numerology, I've got numbers game, and I've got soul numbers. And I think you're going to lose me in a moment. These are all on Amazon under the name Dee Gibson, and you can download them just as an ebook. So that's what I've got at the moment. I have got my latest little one is this one that has just been. This is the proof, and this is all of my.
Oh, nice!
Oh, that's so
So
nice.
I've done that one as well. So I'm producing stuff all the time, and yeah.
Oh, that's
And you're currently writing a book called The Psychic Truck Driver?
Yes, I'm doing that as a blog. That's because I was a truck driver for interstate. I've driven all around Australia as a truck
I
driver.
listened to you talking about that on your blog, on your site. If you guys want to go to her site, it's dgibson.com.au.
Correct.
dgibson.com.au.
And we'll have that linked. We'll have that linked below. You can just click below and go check that out. And we really suggest you do that because her website is really fun, and you can get all these books and sign up for. Oh, can you do your class online?
Sorry.
Can one do your class online, or is it you need to be in person?
I do have class online, and which is being upgraded as of January, and after that it will be 1, 2, and 3. At the moment, it's just a very general, basic numerology course, but it's going to be updated.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic.
Go.
Well,